Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to all of you, everyone from tuning in all around the world. Pleasure to see you tonight because this is set to be another spectacular night of esports racing action. So strap yourself in. And this evening, it is, of course, an absolute pleasure to welcome you all to the world of the Ferrari Esports series as our intrepid drivers continue that fight for points and, of course, ultimately prizes. And this weekend we're here at the home of the Italian Grand Prix. Now, last time out we were at Nürburgring, of course, and we had an absolutely cracking couple of races. So we really can't wait for the action to start all over again here at Monza. Now, our drivers, they've already started to make their mark on this championship. And as we head to Italy, we've got plenty of storylines to pick up on. There are a few big names who are really looking to assert their dominance on the championship. And then, of course, there are those in the field who, well, they kind of just need a good result to kickstart their campaign. So hopefully Monza is the track they can do that at. Now, as always, we have a lovely pre-show programme lined up for you. But before the first of the two races kick into gear, I should probably quickly introduce myself. My name is Nikki Shields. I'm a motorsport and esports presenter. And alongside me, well, actually, technically he's behind me, we have, of course, with us Paul Jeffrey, complete with somewhat shorter hair than usual, but full of his usual excitable enthusiasm for all things virtual racing. Hello, Paul.
Good evening. Hello, Nikki. Hello, everybody at home. And Nikki, as always, you are absolutely correct. I am incredibly excited about the virtual racing festival that is about to unfold this evening in the Ferrari Esports series. We've got two races. The first debut of the beautiful Ferrari 599XX, and of course the Temple of Speed that is Monza. And with very hungry esport drivers, I cannot wait to see what happens over the course of these next couple of races, assuming they can get around the first corner, of course. But now feels like a good time to talk a little bit about the championship. Many of you, I am sure, will have followed the Ferrari Esports series up to this point and through the knockout qualification races. But for those of you that are maybe new to the championship, let's have a look at what the championship entails. 48 drivers qualify for the 4-round main Ferrari Esports series beginning on August 31st and ending on the 30th of November, taking in 4 iconic European racetracks and 4 beautiful Ferrari models in Assetto Corsa. The drivers will have to score points and the top 24 will go to the final 3-round dash on December the 14th. Imola, Barcelona and Mugello will make up these finals with a car yet to be announced, and the grand final winner will be crowned at the very end.
Great stuff, Mr. Jeffrey. Thank you very much for that. Now, I'm sure everyone at home is going to agree that this format is such a test of driver skill. It's a real test of determination as well. The key ingredients that are absolutely vital to push the boundaries of what is possible in sim racing. Now, speaking of drivers, we have no less than 48 hopefuls taking part in the main series this year. Now, they're split into 2 separate races over the course of the evening ahead. And actually having already made a really strong start to life in the Ferrari Esports series last time out in Germany, let's take a little look at who is going to make up the field today and also the current championship standings.
Our Group A is headed by Isaac Price, winner last time out at the Nürburgring from Kamil Pawlowski, with Danilo Santoro in 3rd position in the standings. Wojciech Lukaszek and Angela Colavito are 4th and 5th position, with Umberto Principi in 6th place after a solid race last time around. Nicola Puntola, Bastian Marte, Luca Tavanari and Andrea Ottomani round out the top 10. In Group B, it is Arnaud Lecombe with a dominant performance on 25 points. Michael Tanitsa in 2nd place. Maxime Batifoulier is in 3rd position, with Jone Catilla in P4. Leonardo Pagano in 5th position, Aj Atanel in P6, Alessandro Miragalia in 7th place, Jacob Stramidlo in 8th, Davide Balanese in 9th and Haldus Joshuas in 10th.
。
Group C is headed by Isaac Price, winner last time out at the Nürburgring from Kamil Pawlowski, with Danilo Santoro in 3rd position, Wojciech Lukaszek and Angela Colavito in 6th place after a solid race last time around. Nicola Puntola, Bastian Marte, Luca Tavanari round out the top 10. In Group D, it is Arnaud Lecombe with a dominant performance on 25 points. Michael Tanitsa in 2nd place. Aj Atanel in P4. Leonardo Pagano in 5th position, Aj Atanel Miragalia in 7th place, Jacob Stramidlo in 8th, Davide Balanese in 9th and Haldus Joshuas in 10th.
What a cracking start to the season it has been, but there is no doubt in my mind that all of the drivers are coming into this weekend continuing to work hard because there is plenty more racing yet to come. So let's put the standings aside for the moment because the Ferrari Esports series isn't just about racing this year. Oh no, actually here at Ferrari, we want to get you guys involved this season as much as possible. So we are delighted to offer this opportunity to our talented young or old livery designers to get involved in the action. So basically, over the course of this season, we want you to submit your best creative designs. Now, we have had some amazing submissions for our judging panel to review. A pretty tough challenge, I must say, because we have had some incredible entries. Let's check out this winner designing the Ferrari 599 XX created by Elisa Loulier. Just such brilliant stuff there. Huge congratulations once again to Elisa Loulier for a brilliant design. And I think I speak for all of us here at Ferrari when I see we cannot wait to see how this car looks out on the track. Absolutely spectacular. Now, speaking of on track, this month the Ferrari Esports Series visits the historic town of Monza, a track we absolutely love, one of the most fast and most iconic circuits in European motorsport. Now, the National Autodrome of Monza needs absolutely no introduction to race fans. But despite, I think, the sort of seemingly simple nature of the layout, actually finding the lap time can be deceptively difficult to achieve. Certainly glad that I'm not doing it. But let's catch up with Amos Lorito. He's on hand to share some of his experiences around this track. He is, of course, part of the Ferrari Driver Academy. Let's take a look at the Ferrari 101 track tutorial video.
Welcome to the Ferrari 101 track tutorial in Monza, Italy.
Hi everyone, my name is Amos Laurito. Crossing the start-finish line, we already hit over 300 km per hour. Before we have to jump on the brakes at the 200 meter boards for the Variante del Rettifilo chicane. It's crucial to nail the braking point down the second gear for all the corner. Going on the throttle as early as you can when we're using all the green carpet on the right. Then flat out into the Curva Grande corner where we can lose or gain any time. We approach now on the Variante della Roggia chicane. We brake approximately on 170 meters, downshift to second. Then we need to get as close as we can to both of the sausage curbs on the inside, short shift to third gear and using again all the tarmac on the left. For the first Lesmo right-hander, we need to sacrifice the entry as it's more important to go on the throttle earlier. It's very easy to get a snap of oversteer on the exit. That's not a big issue. We can gain a little bit of time by doing that. We use third gear for the second Lesmo corner, hitting the curb on the right and almost going on the grass to the exit. Now we approach the most technical part of the track, the Variante Ascari. This sequence of corners is so tricky to get it right. What we can do is cutting the entry so that we can already prepare the exit without losing any time. We use the third gear for the first part and then we quickly switch to the fourth gear to the exit. Now we prepare the Parabolica corner, the final turn of this track. Brake right before the green area on the left, go down to third gear and keep in mind to not use all the track on the exit. With this kind of car, it's better to save a few meters instead of going wide with a better speed. Crossing the line, we finish our lap around the temple speed of Monza. Hope you enjoy it.
Thank you for that great track guide, Amos. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I hear in my ear that it is time to hit the racetrack for the first of two events today at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. A beautiful racetrack this is indeed, and we have got some very exciting racing ahead of us. First off, we're doing Group A, and joining me in the commentary box once again is double Formula One Esports World Champion Brendan Lee. Hello Brendan, how are you?
Great, thank you. At the Temple of Speed today here in Italy, it's going to be a fantastic race. Watch for the breaking point, it's going to be close.
Yeah, it's a great circuit. It often produces incredible racing, and our drivers in the Ferrari Esports series know a thing or two about incredible racing. I am expecting this first event of the day to be something rather spectacular indeed. Let's have a quick look at the grid. Danilo Santoro and Kamil Pawlowski are on the front row of the grid, with Isaac Price, championship leader, in third, Adrian Cott in P4. Wojciech Lukaszek is fifth on the grid, ahead of Nico Pintola, with Umberto Principi and Luca Vinoli 6th and 7th. In 9th and 10th position, Luca Tavanari and Daniel Passande, and Ruben Garcia and Kamil Filipek are 11th and 12th. In 13th position is Josh Martin, ahead of Bastian Marte, with Tamia Bensic in 15th position, 16th Giancarlo Malolole. In position 17th is Yuval Sharon, in position 19th Alfonso Lalorca, and Andrea Ottomani in 20th position. Vincent Bayal in 21st, Noah Rodriguez 22nd, Mirko Pompili in 23rd, Andrea Colavito in 24th, and Tony Beergrand rounds out the grid in 25th position. So, ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your hats. We are about to go racing in the Ferrari Esports Series. The drivers are on the grid. The lights are about to go red. When those lights populate in red and then go out, we will be beginning the opening race of two here at the Temple of Speed in Monza. The lights are illuminated. The cars are about to kick off for the first race of the evening. We've got a great start from pole position, cutting across to the inside. He'll be on the outside for the run down into the Rettifilio chicane for the very first time of the race. The entire field spreading out, trying to find a little bit with the car off. There's a car off onto the grass, cuts over the chicane, manages to keep it facing in the right direction. Stay out of the way. Yes, he does now for the drag race down into the Curva Grande. We've got Kamil Pawlowski and Daniel Santoro side by side, trading pace, trading paint, trading bits of bodywork. Who will come out of the head? Brendan Lee, let's find out.
Yeah, it's super close around the outside. Massive dive on the brakes. He's going to run a little bit wide, but is he going to get the X? I think he is. They're going to be side by side coming up for the next corner. No, he's just held off there. Beautiful first sequence of corners. You can see touching wheels down the straight. Great action. Isaac Price is 1 second behind. Let's see if he can close back up.
Yeah, just the ticket for Kamil Pawlowski. He takes an early race lead from second on the grid. Danilo Santoro, our pole position man, will be infuriated about that lost opportunity. But the Temple of Speed, plenty of slipstreaming can be found here, and Santoro has by all means not given up on this battle for the race lead. Remember, this is a points-paying championship. You need those positions to get the championship running order. Isaac Price, championship leader, down in third position as well. Adrian Cott in P4, Lukaszek and Vinoli 5 and 6. And look here, Brendan, all the cars fanning out, trying to find a little bit of real estate for the run down to the newly named Alboreto corner.
Yeah, it's all super tight. You can see side by side for the final corner. This is a really dangerous place to make the overtake, because if you go in front, now you're sacrificing the slipstream down the long pit straight. You can see right ahead, he's got about a second front, so he's not going to be picking up a toe. I suspect there might be a lunge or two into turn one.
Yeah, that is Luca Vinoli that moves himself up into 6th position ahead of Passanade in P7. But Vinoli just about has the legs a little bit further back. We see a car diving out from the slipstream. Not enough room into the chicane. We've seen a very famous example of that one not working out in the non-too-distant past. Meanwhile, this is Principe as well, just running wide off of the racetrack. He's compromised down in 12th position. That gives Josh Martin behind an opportunity to go around the outside. That will become the inside if Martin can hang the car to the outside. He's trying his very best, just a little bit further back as well. We've got somebody else trying to buy into this fight, but Principe holds on, has to bounce over the curbs, and that is a place for Josh Martin and Berto Principe. There you see him, picture in picture. Concentration, a study of concentration. And Brendan, these guys are giving everything in these first few moments of this race.
It was very similar to another racing series, wasn't it, with people being squeezed over certain curbs. You can see side by side onto the back straight here. They're going to be underneath the bridge, side by side down the straight. And this is where it gets dangerous, because you're 17th and 16th right now. Do you sacrifice fighting each other and sacrifice getting to the points in the top 10? What's the really critical part of this? Or do you fight with your ego?
Yeah, this is great racing throughout the field. That's Rodriguez that we're looking at now. 16th position, just moves past the pit car of Penzic. A couple of cars off in the background as well, playing skittles with the outside and inside barriers. Everybody just about gets back onto the straightaway again. Somebody just pirouetting and getting themselves back. That's Filipek, I think it is, further down the running order. Meanwhile, let's look at Tavanari, 8th position at this moment in time. Passade just ahead of him as well. So Tavanari trying to use the slipstream to his advantage. These cars punch a big hole in the air, but not quite enough road at this stage in the race. I got a feeling this is going to be very much a strategic race, Brendan, trying to keep the car pointing on the straight and narrow and line your rivals up in a T1.
Exactly. As well, you have to consider the rear tyre wear is super critical here to get the exit off these slow speed chicanes. And you're going to sit in the slipstream. If it was me right now, I'd sit in the slipstream for the first half of the race, conserve the tyres, massage the car, be nice to the car. Then in the final half, go for it while everyone else is struggling.
Yeah, that is some good advice, but with a field so tightly compacted as we have here, and basically everything up for grabs, you really can't afford to let your guard down, as we see now Timea Bensic looking to the inside. That was a difficult exit for Rodriguez, but he just about has the track to himself at this moment in time. Does Rodriguez now. Keeps the car, doesn't cover the inside, is wise to the fact that overtaking into this corner will be incredibly difficult. And Timea Bensic there, we see her again in picture, really focusing on the rear of that 599XX ahead. Bensic knows she's got the pace. She knows that Rodriguez is carrying a little bit of damage as well. So it's inevitable that she can overtake, but it's a matter of when, it's a matter of how.
Right over the exit grab, she holds it right together. But I've got to say, I'm really impressed by Bensic here, because you saw her going up the inside into the Lesmo 1, and they both kept it clean, didn't they? They both left the space, but they were both super aggressive. And you could see that she was not backing out of the maneuver. She wants this championship, I assure you.
Yeah, great bit of driving. Meanwhile, Danilo Santoro, fastest lap, 2 laps in a row. So he's interested in seeing if he can do something about this race lead. Let's have a look at Bale now in the slipstream, running down into the chicane, goes to the inside, a little bit of contact as well. Bale runs to the grass on the outside, a little bit of contact between the two cars. Josh Martin at the back of the shot as well, trying to buy himself into this fight, but that was scruffy by Bale there. Little bit of contact in the braking zone at maximum velocity, and unfortunately that is the end result.
Yeah, 3 into 1 just doesn't go. But I'm interested, is he going to give the time back? Because he did gain 1 or 2 seconds by cutting over the chicane. He will argue that he got hit over the chicane, so it's not his duty, but it is an advantage gained at the moment, so I'll be interested to see what the stewards do about that.
Let's have a quick look at a replay now. This is the start of the race. The entire field, look how spectacular that is for the run down into the chicane for the very first time. There's a car going over the grass. That's the yellow car that you see there, into the gravel as well. So does well to stay out of the drama as everybody's trying to pick their way through the action, trying not to get involved in contact, because damage at this stage of the race will be critical, as meanwhile Danilo Santoro starts to eke down the gap to Kamil Pawlowski ahead. So Santoro, the second car that you see in your picture there, number 5, running the wide line through Alboreto, trying to get the run down the start-finish straight. He fancies his chances against Kamil Pawlowski, and this is going to be a good fight.
Yeah, it's going to be side by side into the final corner as well. But this is the point, you sort of sit behind on the exit and now pick up an amazing slipstream down the straight. So Martin's going to be tucking right in. I suspect the car in front's going to go defensive. If he doesn't, he's going to leave the door wide open. But you see, snaking around on the straight, trying to break the slipstream, trying to play the mind games. But you can see up the inside for Martin. This should be a relatively easy move on the braking zone now, and then they can start focusing ahead. Because at the moment, they're scrapping over 12th place. They need to put their eyes forward, work together. And there's actually a bit of a tap there to go a bit faster, Martin. Come on, get on with it, lad. And they need to work towards the points.
Fantastic stuff. Even outside of the points paying positions, as you say, the racing is intense, but these people need to focus on that top 10. Remember, everybody at home, the top 10 is what is absolutely critical for these drivers. They need those points for their championship, as we're looking on board now again with Bale in 13th position. Josh Martin just ahead of us. Here is Josh Martin on screen as we speak, having freshly overtaken and now needs to close that gap down. This Principe is the next man up the road, and Martin in 10th position is the points make prizes place for Josh Martin. And Brendan, after a difficult time last time out, Martin will be incredibly keen, won't it, to get his championship charge off in the right way.
Oh, exactly. You see the cars in front fighting, so Martin will be able to gain a bit of momentum mentally with that to gain the advantage. But realistically in this race, he needs to be finishing about 7th or 8th to pick up some good points and haul himself into a potential top 10 finishing position for grand finale after these few feature races.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, that is what everybody is trying to achieve. They want to get into that grand finale where the drivers from Group A and Group B come together for one final showdown. So this is all about positioning yourself in the Championship Challenge to get into that place where you can secure that important position. Karel Pawlowski doing great work so far at the front of the field to try and secure the full score of 25 points for himself. Our championship leader is currently in 3rd place. That is Isaac Price. Bastien Marte going for the long way around the chicane. That puts him under significant pressure from the car behind as well. They don't miss either of those two cars. They make contact through the Curva Grande. We see Principe running out wide onto the grass. Does a great job to try and manoeuvre the car back onto the racetrack. That is a free overtake for Josh Martin further down the running order. But again, Brendan, these two, they're pushing so hard. There's absolutely no margin for error, and that was a big error.
Yeah, Martin's rubbing his hands right now and licking his lips. 1.1 seconds to the points paying positions, but to say that was a little bit naughty. It's okay to go side by side. It's okay to be a bit rough and tumble, but it's not okay to push another car onto the grass while going that speed.
No, that was actually very, very good driving indeed by Principe to keep the car, broadly speaking, on the racetrack, and he lives to fight another day. This is Umberto Principe that we're looking at now as we're in the bright green car. Shows his nose to the inside of Bale, makes the manoeuvre stick, does he? A little bit of contact, touring car-esque between the two of them through the curves, but he just about manages to pull that one off. Maglione in the blue machine behind as well, now trying to buy into this fight. So these two, they're squabbling, they're trading paint, they're trading racetrack, and that is bringing another car into the battle as well, which is a critical mistake, and that is contact through Alboreto. Both cars just about managed to gather themselves together somehow, in a Herculean effort by both drivers to keep the car running forwards. But that is, you can't afford to make those kind of mistakes too often, Brendan, can you?
No, the desperation for the championship is setting in, isn't it? People have had the calm race one. You see, I reckon he's going to send a lunge down the inside. No, he backed out of it. But you can see the desperation is really, really setting in now. The first race honeymoon period is over, let's say, and everyone is going all-out war for this.
Yeah, that is a very, very good point. We're seeing a lot more aggression on the racetrack this time than we did last time out for the opening round of the season. And Brendan, as a driver yourself, of course, would you be taking the aggressive stance that some of these drivers are doing, or is it still very much a case of gathering those points?
I'd be taking an aggressive stance, but I wouldn't be making as much contact as these guys are, to be honest, because it's okay to make contact. It's okay to sort of unnerve your opponent, but while you're damaging your car, you're hurting your chance of going as fast as possible. So you need to balance these up and weigh them up, because it's okay to try and be an aggressive, but if you're on the gravel trap at the end of the race, you're not getting points anyway.
Yeah, that is exactly right. You get to balance the desire to score as many points as possible, or to get as high up the order as possible, with it potentially throwing the car off the racetrack, which is incredibly easy to do here at Monza. But let's have a look at Kamil Pawlowski. No danger of this man taking to the gravel trap anytime soon. And Pawlowski, we suggested that Danilo Santoro was a man very much on a mission, but Pawlowski now, fabulous work by our race leader to gap second position. So Pawlowski cutting through the air on his own, no slipstream, no help from any cars around him, has now started to buy himself a bit of an advantage at the front of the field. So Kamil Pawlowski will be very, very satisfied indeed with the job that he's doing so far. Meanwhile, Josh Martin in a little bit of excitement on the back straight, running down into the chicane at turn 1. Martin to the inside, Marti to the outside, and that is a position gained and a points paying position at that for Scotland's Josh Martin, now in 10th position, but with Bastian Marti for company and fancying his chances.
Yeah, really aggressive right now. Both of them know what's at stake here. Pride, honour and points as well. It's going to be super tight, but Martin has got fantastic pace right now. He's clearly wound up, but trying to go side by side into Kane. Brilliant defending there for Martin, in my opinion. Closed the door, got late on the brakes. Super heroic driving from both of them. But right now, Martin has got a missile-locked target on P9, Garcia, and he's going to be hunting him down for the rest of the race.
Fantastic racing on the fringes of the points paying positions for Josh Martin. We spoke about him earlier, 3 places gained in a very short space of time. So Martin, very much the man on the move. Next on the list is Garcia in 9th position, but Bastian Martin now with that little bit of drama has put himself under pressure from Principe in 13th position. In fact, they're going side by side at the back of your shot. Martin still holds on to that position. Principe still stays in 12th position, not 13th. So that fight continues, and now we have got a race on our hands. Brendan Lee, you're a driver, you're inside the top 10, you're Josh Martin. Do you charge and try and get 9th, or do you stick into 10th and say thank you for the point?
Got to go for 9th, haven't you? Got to charge. But I just noticed on the lap times, the top 3 were within 0.008 of a second of each other of the lap time. Sensationally close. They're hunting each other down. This is top level racing, whether it's motorsport, esports, whatever you do in the world. This is people at the top of their game hunting each other down for the pride of winning. And I think another thing to note is Isaac was winning the last race. Now he's P3. I would be interested to know his little mindset was going on right now, because he went from controlling the last race to now having to hunt down the top 2.
Yeah, that is a very good point, because Isaac Price, as you rightly said, dominated last time out. So this is going to be a bitter pill to swallow for Isaac Price, knowing that he just does not have the pace of these 2 race leaders in qualifying nor the race. But 3rd position is still a healthy take-home of points anyway. So Isaac Price will be relatively content. Adrian Cott has dropped back now in 4th position, so he's not really in contention at this moment in time. But Kamil Pawlowski at this moment is dominating proceedings, and Danilo Santoro, we saw a little bit of him on the picture-in-picture, just has nothing, no answer whatsoever for our race leader, and that is a really strong performance so far. But then again, Brendan, we're only halfway. There's still plenty of racing to go.
Yeah, the tyres could fall off. You can make some mistakes. You can hit the curb too hard and damage the car. Anything can happen. You can see all the drivers here really attacking the sausage curbs. The Ferrari car is fantastically set up here to be able to attack the curbs and give the driver confidence throughout the corner. That's what you really need to go fast here.
Yep, absolutely do. You've got to push. You can't leave anything on the table in the Ferrari Esports series. And I hope everybody's enjoying this one at home. Don't forget, we've got another race straight after this one as well. So do not go anywhere. The drama is intense. The Ferrari 599 XX Evo performing wonderfully here at Monza's. Principe again goes for the attack. Bastian Marti is now on the outside. Principe earns himself the inside line, just about gets the car stopped, holds it on the apex for the second part of the corner. Marti cannot find a way past, and that is a great overtaking manoeuvre from Principe.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think he was going to get stopped. As soon as he hit the brake, I was like, nah, he's in the runoff area. But he got it stopped. Magic. Absolute magic. You see coming off the inside just to make sure there isn't a little lunge up the inside now. But I reckon he's going to be a man on the move, trying to look around the outside. That was very brave on the brakes from Marti there. But now it's going to be interesting to see if they work together or fight each other, because Martin's 2.7 seconds up the road. And they really need the points, to be honest, don't they?
Yeah, this is the exact thing that you say. You can fight now and start falling back, and there's no real benefit to fighting at this stage in the race because you'll not be taking any points home at all. The sensible call is to work together, to start pushing yourself away from the chasing pack and close down onto the back of Josh Martin in 10th position. Now, that's easy for Brendan Lee and myself to say up here in the commentary box with an overview of the race and having to do no work apart from shout at our screens. But when you're on the racetrack yourself, it's an entirely different kettle of fish indeed. And look at Josh Martin, he's there all on his own. Nobody behind to chase. Nobody in front to chase. Nobody behind to defend upon. So this is a good opportunity for this little battle pack to start closing down. Meanwhile, Kamil Pawlowski still leads the race from 1.1 seconds from Danilo Santoro. Isaac Price is holding on to the bottom step of the podium, a further 1.4 seconds in arrears. Adrian Cott in P4, Lukasek in P5, and Marco Vinoli still in 6th position. This is Mangione now looking to the inside, not quite close enough again. And how powerful, Brendan, is the slipstream on a track like this in these kind of cars?
It's massively powerful. You can probably be gaining upwards of 6 to 7 tenths per lap because they're not producing that much downforce. They're not really producing any dirty air as well. These cars are very much mechanical grip focused cars. So you can follow each other super closely. You can see people right up behind each other in the chicanes. But then on the slipstream, on the straights, they're punching a massive hole in the air. And that's really where you can tuck in and enjoy the advantage as a driver behind.
And of course, while you're using the slipstream, you're burning less fuel. You put in more work through your tyres, though. So it's kind of like a balancing act for these drivers, isn't it? And looking after the car and also at the same time pushing and fighting and trying to leverage your speed to gain a position on the racetrack. And you don't want to give too much of yourself in your car too early, do you? Otherwise, you're going to be vulnerable in the second part of the race.
Exactly that. The strategic thing to do in the slipstream is if you can't get past on the first or second lap of trying, sit behind and you dummy the driver ahead to think that you're slower than you are, then wait for them to make a mistake and catapult off the corner in the slipstream and pass in the straight line. If you attack every single corner of the racetrack, you'll just hold each other up. You need to be patient, use the slipstream and really work your magic to get past.
Now, talking of slipstream, talking of working a little bit of magic. Tavanari in 8th position in the yellow machine that we're seeing on screen now. He's just a little bit too far away to get maximum benefit from the slipstream, but he will be picking up a little bit or two from Passani ahead of him. And this is critical times now for this number 14 machine. There's 10 minutes left on the clock. And we've seen a little bit of drama further back. That's Maglione now going for the side-by-side, having to take to the escape road as well. So a little bit of shuffling there. There's Bale dropping down in a 14th position. Martin moving up into P12. And how many times are we going to see that kind of manoeuvre, Brendan, at T1 in Monza?
I think we're going to see it quite a lot. We've still got 9 minutes left. 1 or 2 cars will go over, and he's missing his braking point again. He just needs to cool down a bit mentally, and I think, well, cooling down, he's out of the race. So he'll definitely have a cool down with a drink in the swimming pool, I think, but he won't be finishing this race, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a real shame to see that one with 10 minutes, 9.5 minutes even left on the clock. We've got our first retirement of the day, and Kamil Pawlowski still nice and easy at the front of the field. Thank you very much indeed. 1.1 seconds to the good. This is Vincent Bale that we're looking at now in 14th position on the attack for Tamir Pensick ahead, but Bale really trying everything, goes to the outside. There's a dangerous position, but does it before the braking zone. Vincent Bale, bravery +1 to take the position, and Tamir Pensick will not be happy about that.
No, everyone's so hungry, aren't they? You're never going to be hungry about being overtaken. You're only going to be happy if you're going forward.
Yep, absolutely. That is the prerogative of these drivers to push. They want every position. They want every opportunity to put one over on their rivals. This is Adrian Cott that we're looking at on board and picture in picture as well. That's a very lonely, empty piece of racetrack ahead of him. 4th place, but Brendan, as a driver, you obviously want the best result you can get, but is it also a bit disappointing when the race has been a little bit boring and you've had no one to fight with? Or do you want an easy life and the points?
Well, if you're winning and you win by 5 laps, yeah, it's nice to have a bit of a quiet race. But when you're 4th place and you've got 5 seconds ahead, 2 seconds behind, you're kind of scratching your head to why you did all these hours in practice. And you could have, you could have a nice drink, you could have a relaxing evening, and you still could have finished fourth. But the biggest dilemma for a racing driver right now, as there's a bit of contact in the chicane, so Besky is, that's a bit of a nice switchback, but I have to say, a bit dirty on the entry to sort of punt the car out the way, so I'll be interested to see what the stewards say about that. But as I was saying, it's a bit of a dilemma because you're 4 or 5 seconds behind, but where is that 4 or 5 seconds? And now in practice for the next race, you're going to need to find that, and that's a lot of time.
Yeah, that is a very good point, actually. That is a big deficit to make up for the next round. But at the moment, he'll be satisfied with fourth position. We saw Penske making a little bit of contact. Lorca now starting to take advantage from this one as well, diving up the inside. So Bales dropped down in a 16th position after that little bit of a tete with the pink machine at the front of this little battle pack that we're seeing now, running down the back straight into the formerly known as parabolic, and now Michele Alboreto curve. And Bale not quite giving up on it yet, goes to the outside. Lorca in the yellow machine on the inside, a little bit of contact as well between the two of them. So Bale starting to get frustrated, having been strong-armed out of track position earlier in the lap, starting to turn the aggressiveness up another level, but it didn't work on that occasion. He's back in the slipstream once again, living to fight another day. Lorca goes to the inside, then thinks better of it. That opens the door. It will be rude not to walk through that gap, but Bale decides he hasn't got enough of an overlap. The yellow machine goes over the curbs as well, and that is Vincent Bale's position, signed, sealed and delivered.
Yeah, I did say 3 minutes ago we'll see another person going off, so Brendan Lee and his truths always come true again, don't they? But I'm very happy that he gave the place back, because you can see he realised the mistake and just thought, okay, I made the mistake, I give the place back, and it's sporting etiquette, isn't it, at that point? But you can see a nice little on board from P5. You can see he's checking around. I think he knows his race is pretty much settled down. He's got 1 or 2 seconds to the car in front, so I think he's going to be pushing still to make a point mentally, but I think he's going to be bringing the car home more than anything.
Yeah, this is a solid result for Wojciech Lukaszek. He finished fourth last time out. P5 today. That's another solid haul of points. 15 to go with the 12 already scored by the driver. So Lukaszek having a solid round here once again, keeping himself in contention, not setting the world alight with overall pace at this moment in time, but scoring, doing exactly what he needs to do, isn't he, Brendan? Just scoring the points, keeping himself in the conversation for the championship challenge, and then when a better suited track / car combination comes his way, he's in a prime position to make something of that.
Exactly. You need to look at, as a racing driver, professional, any professional person in the world, you need to look at your energy as a battery level, in effect. And you spend your battery level and your percentage of your energy on this, or do you spend it on the grand finale? We don't know how much practice these guys are doing, these guys and girls as well are doing for this series. So for all we know, he could have done 1 or 2 hours of preparation for this, and he's saving all of his nice little energy and his nice little go-go juice for the grand finale, and he's going to rock up and he's going to put in some amazing lap times, I reckon.
So, public service announcement, the Brendan Lee's My Energy is a Battery t-shirts are available from all good outlets. Excellent, I like that one. Battery is my energy. I like that. I'll use that one. But meanwhile, very fine point that you do make, actually, it is all about scoring the points. It is all about doing the job that you need to do. And I think in any championship, Brendan, I think it's really fair to say that when you're not having the best of days, if you can still score solid top 6 points, that's what makes champions at the end of the day.
And champions are built off strong mindset, and I think so many of us professionals, of course, we're all really competitive people, so we all want to win, and anything but winning seems like a failure, seems like a disappointment, but it's not. If you look at P5, P6, wow, you're P5 or P6 in the Ferrari Esports series. How many people have signed up to this? And you need to remember to be confident in yourself. You need to remember that what you're doing is world class. You need to remember that, because it's so easy to bring yourself down on not winning. But the true champions, the champions what you see winning multiple championships in real life, Niki Lauda, for example, let's point him out because he would be good at this. Sometimes it's just not your day to win, but you need to be confident in yourself even if you don't win.
Yeah, that is a very, very good point. Somebody who's massively confident in themselves is this man, Kamil Pawlowski. We're riding on board with our race leader now, and just look how cool, calm and measured the driving is in this 599 XX Evo. Pawlowski put the car on second position on the grid, got the race lead very, very early on, and he's just gone about his business unobtrusively, putting in solid lap times, gapping the cars behind, and he's just doing, isn't he, the absolute minimum he needs to do to bring this car over the line and the checkered flag. And this has been a really commanding performance from the young Polish driver.
It's been impressive. Of course, he looked like he had the pace in round one, but he wasn't able to really challenge Isaac too much. But you can see he's going to lead off the start and really nicely controlled the balance. Of course, half a second to Santoro, but I think Pawlowski's just controlling the race right now and bringing the car home, because it's so easy to make a mistake on these worn tyres and run wide and make a spin or make a mistake, and all of a sudden you're P4, P5. I reckon Pawlowski's just calming it down a little bit mentally, and he's going to bring home a nice, solid result.
Absolutely, and Monza, of course, is one of these old school circuits, isn't it, where one small mistake and the barriers are, all the gravel traps are all so incredibly close. You're straight to the scene of the accident, and that is day over for you, isn't it?
Exactly, and it's really critical to get the braking points here right, because especially in these cars, they're really momentum-based, and you have to get the traction off the apex perfectly to get the lap time. If you're 1 or 2 meters wide of the apex or 1 or 2 meters late on the brakes, that's 2 or 3 tenths on the exit of the corner. And before you know, Santoro's all over you, and maybe he's up the inside of the next corner. But say Santoro did the fastest lap of the race on the previous lap time. You went a little bit wide there. That's the point that I was making there. And he's going to lose a bit of time on the exit. 2 tenths already lost on the exit. So backing up my point there. But Santoro isn't out of this, I don't think. But I think it's going to be interesting, weighing up the risk versus reward. I find interesting, though, Isaac Price. He's decided to not go for the battle. He's decided to wait a bit behind. Is that his true pace, or is that him being measured and calculated about the situation?
Well, if I was Isaac Price, I would not be banking on third position at this stage of the race, because Danilo Santoro has not given up the fight on this one. To see the way he's drifting the cars through the corner, leaving black lines on the racetrack as he gets the throttle down and the gas in out of the corners. Danilo Santoro, with 44 seconds left on the clock, does not fancy giving up the possibility to take a race victory. So Kamil Pawlowski might be cool, calm and collected, might have everything under control, but Danilo Santoro is not making it easy for the Polish driver. It'll be fascinating to keep our eye on this one over the course of the final lap of the race. Danilo Santoro now has got just one more good opportunity, and whereabouts is the best overtaking opportunity for the Italian driver, Brendan?
In my opinion, what I'd be trying to do is into Ascari, get the car in front, a bit unsettled, then into the final corner, have a bit of a lunge. That's his best opportunity right now, I think.
Well, we'll find out if that opportunity is something that he can turn into his advantage. Kamil Pawlowski's led every moment of this race up to press. Isaac Price third, plenty of points for his championship challenge. Not a bad day's work at all. And Brendan Lee, driver of the day, who would you say it's going to be with a few moments left on the clock?
Pawlowski, I think, because he got into the lead and he's controlled it all the way, and he's not really made any significant mistakes. Okay, he's probably missed the apex once or twice, but that's about it. You know, when you're in the lead and there's so much pressure right now from Santoro, he's unloading as much pressure as he can, but he hasn't cracked, and he came from a P2 result in the first race. It's very good, very sustainable, and he's put on a champion's drive, in my opinion.
Yeah, really, really solid effort from both of these drivers. First and second position. Santoro now trying to apply as much pressure as he possibly can, heading down and straight at the back for the very final time. Just one more corner separates these two cars between themselves and the checkered flag. Kamil Pawlowski now, he's got the slipstream, has Danilo Santoro, but not enough of an overlap. Kamil Pawlowski turns in to the parabolica for the final time, gets on the gas, runs down the start-finish straight. Danilo Santoro now has just a few more yards to make up. He won't do it. Kamil Pawlowski takes the race victory in the Ferrari Esports Series here at the Temple of Speed at Monza. A dominant performance, not a single mistake, and Danilo Santoro, despite trying every trick in the book comes home in second position, with Isaac Price rounding out our podium runners for another very solid result. Adrian Cott in P4, Lukaszek in 5, Vanoli in 6, Posade in 7th, Tavanari in P8, Garcia in 9th, and this man, Josh Martin, scoring the final point of the day. Whew. That was pretty dramatic, Brendan.
You had the same reaction as Borowski. I don't know if you noticed when he came over the line, a big breath came out of his cheeks. So that's a big sign to me. As a racing driver, you understand this body language, and that means to me he knows this wasn't easy. He knows a championship is going to be a massive, massive fight. Santoro made a point today.
Yeah, that was brilliant stuff. So here is the finishing positions for our Group A race, the first race of the day. Kamil Pawlowski is the race winner from Danilo Santoro and Isaac Price. Adrian Cott, Wojciech Lukaszek, Luca Vanoli, Daniele Posade, Luca Tavanari, Ruben Garcia and Josh Martin are the points scorers. And dramatic as that was, ladies and gentlemen, you have not got time to go and make a drink. You've not got time to go and do whatever it is that you do on an evening, because we're going straight into the next race. And Arnaud Lecomte, surprise, surprise, is on pole position from Leonardo D'Alcamo. Maxime Batifulier in third position, Leonardo Pagino in P4. Michael Tanitsa in 6th position from Davide Adami in 7th. Dominic Ullman in P7, Jonathan Riley in P8. In 9th position, it's Edge Altanel with Jurek Slovanak in 10th position. Maurice Stryker, P11 from Gaten Noge in 12th position. Mattia Grassi in 13th. Alessandro Miragali in P14. Oscar Barco from Francesco Molinaro, 15 and 16. Jacob Stribidlo in P17th. And Lubovov in P18th. In Matthias Tiskovic in 19th. And Catola in 20th. Giovanni Calavare and Matteo Degone in 23rd, 21st, 22nd even. Andrea Foste and Davide Bolognese 23rd and 24th. And Haroldus Joshuas on the final 25th position. And we're about to do this all again. This is the Ferrari Esports Series Group B. Now, you know the drill. The cars are on the grid. They are looking to the timing stack. They're looking to these lights that you see in the middle of your screen. Red is about to go out and the race is about to begin. 25 cars charging from the line here at Monza, the Temple of Speed. The run down into the chicane for the very first time. Everybody trying to find a little bit of real estate, but Arnaud Lecomte is the man that comes through ahead of the pack. Leonardo D'Alcamo in second position. Maxime Batifulier holds on to third place through the chicane around the Curva Grande for the very first time. Michael Tanitsa holds on a fifth position as well, so a good start for Tanitsa, closing down Pagino in fourth position ahead, and everybody behaving themselves, Brendan Lee, rather nicely indeed.
Yeah, it's been a nice and clean start, hasn't it? As I say that, someone's going off the runoff area. So commentators curse strikes once again, but amongst all the top 10, I think it's been a nice clean start. I don't see a scratch on anyone's car, do you?
No, really good stuff. That was Maurice Stryker, I believe, that was running wide over the runoff area and back onto the racetrack. So Stryker dropping himself down now in the 18th position at this moment in time. We'll see if he loses a few more places over the course of the next few corners. So not a great start for Maurice Stryker, but at the front of the field, Arnaud Lecomte, our dominating driver. Last time I was there, he goes, Adami running wide, getting a little bit of a kiss from Slovanak as well. Adami does well to keep the car on the tarmac and running in this race at this moment in time. Adami, 7th position. Remember, he was the man that was very much on the bubble and in the action last time out in the Ferrari Esports Series, but he's got a few more points to his name so far in this race as Slovanak loses a position to Ullman a little bit further back. All the drama unfolding already as we're almost 3 wide.
3 wide onto the straight, basically. It will be 3 wide by the braking turn, I assure you of that. He tucked right into the slipstream. But now it's interesting. One car is probably going to be in the middle of this sandwich. Do you send it or do you not send it? Do you risk everything or do you not risk anything? I was actually wrong. First time I've been wrong in my life, I think. They're not 3 wide, but they do make contact, and that's a very nice decision to cut the curb there to avoid further more contact. But you can see everyone's hungry. Just like the first race, everyone's fighting like it's their last race on Earth.
Yeah, these little bit of contact further up the field potentially opens the door for Alton at the back of this pack to try and make up some positions. Currently in 10th place, the little bit of drama between Slovanak and Ullman potentially opens the door, not quite. An opportunity into the chicane. Ullman now starting to clear away a little bit. This is Alton. We're riding on board now. He's become a bit detached actually from the cars ahead and coming under pressure from Mirigalia behind as well. So Ullman had an opportunity, could not capitalise, and now he's starting to fall back into the clutches of the chasing pack. But this kind of drama, Brendan, so early in the race, you've got to go for it, but it's a big risk so early into the event, isn't it?
And all it takes is you to break the rear spoiler or the splitter on the front of the car, and that's a few tenths per lap, and that puts you out the top 10 with how competitive this field is. You need every ounce of grip and balance of the car. As you can see, perfectly sliding through a Ascari there. I don't know if you saw that. That was beautiful. Something you'd see out of a stunt movie. Well done to that driver.
Yeah, great bit of car control there. No doubt that would have put everybody else around them on high alert. But meanwhile, Slovanak takes away 9th position. That actually is Altonel trying to get a 9th position off of Slovanak. Made it move into the Alboreto corner, then lost out again. But this is a good opportunity now for Altonel. Uses the slipstream to his advantage. Slovanak goes to the inside. He knows what's coming, defends the inside line. Altonel on the outside has the overlap, but does he have the braking power? No, he does not. He's wise enough to know that too wide through the chicane is not the most intelligent move at this stage in the race. So backs into a 10th position once again and fights onward. Still has an opportunity to continue the push.
Yeah, fantastic stuff so far. And you can see the gaps at the front three are really close. Lecom, as we remember, dominated, I mean dominated the first round. But right now, only 7 tenths to the car behind. There's a race on, I think. I'm interested to see how Lecom handles the pressure.
Yes, that will be a fascinating bit of insight into the Frenchman Arnaud Lecon's racing toolkit. We know he is frighteningly fast, but he just cannot break the toe of Leonardo Dalcamo and Maxime Battifulier behind, and that is critical. If Lecom stays under pressure, he's in that zone that we spoke about in the first race, where a small mistake, a slight snatch of an inside braker, a couple of meters away from an apex, and all of a sudden you've not got one, you've got 2 cars trying to take away that race lead from you. Look at the fight, look at the battle pack behind these 3 as well. Everybody's all very tightly compacted, but Leonardo Dalcamo at the moment is the man under pressure, because this car, this yellow machine that we're looking at now of Maxime Battifulier, is doing everything he can to keep those mirrors occupied of the green car ahead.
Definitely, and Lecom has responded. He went 2 tenths faster than anyone else on that lap time there. So it's going to be interesting. If I was P3 right now, I would not be putting pressure on P2. I would be sat there, come on, let's work together. Let's try and catch him. We need to stop his momentum. If we fight, he wins and he gains more momentum. But you can see Tanita right here, fully focused. What an amazing camera angle that is, because it really shows the intensity in the eyes, the facial expressions. The cars might not be real, but the passion, the emotion, and the racing certainly is.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that one. And Michael Tanitzer, of course, had a difficult Ferrari Esports Series adventure last time out in 2020, but he's making up for that one with aplomb in 2021. This season, Tanitzer doing a fabulous job behind the wheel. Had a strong outing last time out, and again, firmly in the points. This is Altonel now going down the inside of Yuri Slavanak and taking the position away. So eventually that little battle has started to come undone for Yuri Slavanak, who drops down into 10th position in the final. Points paying place, and Altonel will need to take the opportunity now to run away from the cars behind if he possibly can. But I have a feeling that Slavanak has not given up on this one yet.
No, they're going to be fighting for the whole race, I think, and it's going to be fantastic to watch. But the thing what I really like is their cars don't have scratches on them. They're super, super close. Bit of a squiggle coming out of Ascari there. Well held, son. It's going to be super close, but you can see right now, because that squiggle having to defend into the final corner, and this is going to be an interesting one, because again, they're holding each other up. This is the thing what we keep on saying week after week. Work together, use each other's advantage of the slipstream, but you can see replay at the start.
So here we go then. This is the start of the race a few moments ago. 25 cars trying to go down into a chicane that's wide enough for approximately 1.25, but everybody behaves themselves very nicely indeed. A little bit of contact further down the running order. A couple of cars go into the escape road, and Davide Adami's another one on the escape road. They're live pictures. So Adami made the overtaking manoeuvre in a 6th position, but that was unfortunately not fair but foul, and has to give that position back to Riley, which he does so in due course. So very gentlemanly there from Adami. Knows that he did wrong in that manoeuvre, but is firmly on the rear of the cars ahead. So Riley cannot afford any kind of respite at this stage in the race.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but you say really smart by him to let the position go. Otherwise, you're susceptible to picking up a bigger penalty by the stewards. If you don't take the position back and give it back, then you might keep the position. You might be in 6th place right now, or 5th place, whatever the position you might be, whoever makes the mistake. But you probably will get a penalty and hurt yourself in the long run.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course, we've got stewards keeping an eye on the behaviour of all the drivers in this field. I'm sure they don't need to. I'm sure they're very professional in their own right, but things do happen in motor races. We're riding on board now with Adam, and we're coming down the back straight, coming down into the Alboreto curve. I'm just going to take me a long time to remember to call it Alboreto and not parabolic, but Adam is starting to get a little bit detached on the rear of Riley. He'll hope to get a good run through Alboreto onto the gas nice and early, pick up that all-important slipstream, but he's bringing Dominic Ullman along with him as well. Ullman in the bright green machine at the back of your shot. So unfortunately for Riley ahead, these two are coming at it together, and this is going to be not one position he's defending, but two over the course of the next lap or so. Will Jonathan Riley in 6th position.
Yeah, this is what you need to be smart. You need to be tactical. You need to work out your advantages. And this is really when you see the best racing drivers in the world, because if he can watch the mirror and watch the live delta gaps that he will be getting from the simulation. Okay, maybe on the 2nd chicane he's gaining a 10th, on the 1st chicane he's losing a 10th. If you can start to work out your strengths and weaknesses, it aids you in your ability to defend. The car behind has the easier job right now because he can attack. You can see, fully committed to that first curve there. That was fantastic stuff. But it's side by side now into the 2nd chicane. So like I was just saying, who's going to outbrake themselves here? Because it's going to be deep on the brakes on the inside, bit of a squeeze on the outside, but hang it around the outside. Couldn't quite get it. Couldn't keep the momentum around the outside. Good attacking, good defending there from the racing. Good, nice and clean.
And that is Maurice Stryker that took that position. So Stryker we saw visiting the escape road earlier in the event, now very much on the recovery. Stryker dropped as far down as 19th position, if memory serves me correct. So he's making a couple of places up. But Maurice Stryker now 3.7 seconds he needs to find until he can get on to the rear of the next driver. But that is a good overtaking manoeuvre from the Dutchman, but Stryker made life too hard for himself. He made the mistake or got involved in the incident in the opening lap. And it's a very famous saying, Brendan, isn't it? That you cannot win a race in T1, but you can most certainly lose one.
Exactly, and it's the hardest thing to weigh up mentally because you're on the start line, your heart rate's at 180 beats per minute. You've got all the adrenaline in the world, you've got all the passion in the world, and you're firing this beautiful Ferrari down to turn 1, and it's home in Monza, and do you make the lunge or not? And if you make it 1 millimeter too wrong, your race is over.
Yeah, but with 25 cars all so closely matched on pace as well, you can't afford to break a little bit early and be cautious, otherwise everybody's going to stream past you. As we're looking at Gaten Nose now, 12th position, 18 minutes 54 seconds left on the clock. Gaten Nose in 12th, that's Miragalia just ahead in 11th place, and then slightly further up the road you can see the bike of Yuri Slovanek's car in 10th. Why is 10th important? Because 10th is the first place that pays points. So Gaten Nose happy in his day's work, but he will want to make another couple of positions up and get that all-important point. This is Arnaud Lecomte, a little bit of a wipe of the sweat on the brow of his head. He's starting to break a sweat, which is an upgrade on what happened last time where he dominated at the front of the field, but not so this time. Arnaud Lecomte he's been made to work for this one, isn't he?
Yeah, but I think he's in great form again. Like I say, I agree. Nice to see him sweating. I think last time he could have stopped for a cup of tea, to be honest. But now he's having to work for it. So we'll have to get a cup of tea after. But I'm sure he'll have a nice celebration no matter where he finishes.
Well, we're in Monza today, so it's espresso and not tea, but Arnold Lecombe does not need any additional motivation. Another fabulous drivers. Meanwhile, this is Davide Adami now throwing the car up the inside, makes contact with Riley, pushes Riley off of the racetrack. A little bit aggressive there from Adami, but sixth position. His is his reward, and Ullman now gets himself involved in the mix as well. What do you make of that one, Brendan?
Aggressive, I think a little bit over the line, to be honest, but
Yeah.
in a competition like this, if you didn't go for it, I'd be upset with you anyway.
Yep, absolutely. And the battle behind actually is not closed down yet. Jonathan Riley now still under pressure from Ullman. Ullman being the car that is bright green. Riley just about in front is giving a car's width coming through the curve of Grande. It's not necessary though, because Ullman does not have enough of an overlap to go side by side. But Riley now will be thinking about going defensive. No real opportunity there. Late on the brakes, keeps the car a little bit deep into the corner. That compromises him on exit. Ullman now snapping at his heels, sniffing around at the rear of that Ferrari, dives down the inside, just about enough racing room, contact between the two of them, and you can open your eyes now, Sunshine, because that was drama.
Yeah, I was hiding behind the sofa. I was having the pillow fall everywhere because that was so close. Already into the second chicane. I was thinking, no, that's going to be contact. But amazing driving to not make contact there. But then into the Lesmo 1, amazing car control because he squeezed into the curb but didn't squeeze him too much. Okay, there was a little bit of contact on the middle to exit of the corner, but that's normal in racing. And they both held it together in a really professional way, and they both continue their races.
Yeah, if I would have laid a wager on that was going to be a monstrous accident between those two. So great, credit where credit's due, great driving from both of them to just about keep the cars pointing in the right direction. And Jonathan Riley now still holds that position. Dominic Ullman now has Altenel for company as well. So the two bright green machines, 8th and 9th position. This is on board now with the Altenel cars. He's got a double slipstream of the cars ahead, and he'll do well to let these two start to close back together again and have a bit of a squabble. That's free lap time. When cars ahead of you are fighting for position and you're not, they're holding each other up and you're closing up faster than you would necessarily be if everybody was in clean air. So Altenel needs to keep a watching brief now, doesn't he? Needs to understand where he's faster or slower than the cars ahead.
And I found it quite interesting. Towards the end of the straight, he was definitely closing up more than the cars in front were. So possible damage to the cars in front, and that might be causing more drag on the car. A bit late on the brakes. Amazing to not make contact there. But he got a bit checked up on the apex, so couldn't make the run out the corner. But is he going to have a look down the inside? Beautiful defending. He's going to go around the outside, try to use the banking of the corner and get early on the power. He's still going to be there side by side into Lesbo 2, squeezing onto the car. Complete bravery to back out of it. Now look for a good exit. Try to get early on the power, but amazing defending again just to park the car. Flashing the lights. He isn't happy, but mate, that was amazing racing.
Yeah, that is a great bit of competition between these two drivers. Both of them want the position. Both of them are willing to give an inch. And here we go again for round two. Contact between the two cars. Will they make it through this next section? No, they will not. Somebody's out into the barriers, and that is Ullman. That is a real shame, and ending what has been a most spectacular bit of drama up to that point.
Yeah, but I think the old saying is when you live by the sword, you die by the sword, don't you? And they were certainly playing with fire, to be honest, wasn't they? All the way down, they were banging wheels down the straight. Fantastic action to watch. But eventually someone's got to give way in those situations.
Yeah, that was drama. And all that means now Miragalia moves up into the top 10. So Miragalia takes a position and a potential championship point with 13 minutes and change left on the clock. Noj now, Gaetan Noj has something to fight for as well. And Altenel under pressure once again. We've said this before, we'll say it again, I'm sure, before the checkered flag waves. Altenel and Slovanak fighting over the same bit of tarmac. Who will come out as the victor from these two? We will find out in the fullness of time. Miragalia must be thinking, I have no idea how this happened, but I'm grateful and I'll take it.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing for him is he's been able to watch all that sort of battling and contact unfold ahead of him. So he knows how aggressive the cars in front are. And that's a wonderful advantage because you can start to trick people mentally, do some dummies on the straight and make them force into a mistake. when you're coming behind the car and you don't know how aggressive they are, it's a really worrying situation because you don't know how much you have to bring yourself to your limit to match them. But you can see on board here with Leonardo chasing Lecom, and I have to say this has been an amazing race for him to be able to keep up with Lecom because, like we talked about before, Lecom disappeared last race, but he's making him work for it. And he's got his nice Ferrari headset on there as well. I quite like that.
Haha, on brand, good man. And this is the thing. This is what our drivers needed in this Group B. They needed to show that Arnaud Lecom is not going to walk away from the championship. They need it for their own confidence. They need it for their point score going forward as well. And if this had been another dominating performance from Arnaud Lecom, it's very hard to come back from that one in such a quick-fire championship as this, isn't it?
Yeah, but also this is what Lecom needed, I think, as well. I think he was always going to be pushing himself as hard as he can, but there's nothing better to raise your game than someone pushing you, and this is going to increase your chances of being competitive in the grand finale, because when everything is all nice and easy, you can lay on the beach and have a nice time. These guys can't lay on the beach and have a nice time. They're scrapping right away. What a move. Sort of dummying on the brakes. You see, moving on the brakes, that requires a great amount of car control and brake control to be able to control the weight transfer. Any less skill and you'll be shooting off into the wall there. But you can see slipstreaming down the straight and over to you.
So he's got the run now coming down into the chicane. Can he find a way past the car ahead? So Grassi riding on board, looks to the outside. There's a defensive line from Sumidlo now into the chicane. Can Grassi keep the outside line? He runs a little bit deep. Sumidlo down over the curb, and that is another failed attempt, and that is going to cost him big style, because here is Ullman trying to buy back into the fight once again. Ullman to the inside. Brendan, these are fighting tooth and nail.
Side by side, door to door, wheel to wheel, and now they're going to be fighting for the slipstream off the car in front. You can see just about got it there, Grassi, and now they're going to be side by side down to Ascari. Is he going to look up the inside? Is he going to send a lunge? It's going to be interesting to see what he does. I think he's going to out of it. He still half looks there, but no, Grassi swoops around the outside, takes the racing line, takes the momentum, and takes forward the place. And now eyes forward, time to hunt down again to get your positions back.
Brilliant stuff, and all this is over 13th, 14th and 15th positions. We're going again too wide down into Alboreto Grassi on the defensive. Keeps the middle line. That doesn't open any doors for Ullman behind. Have to be careful not to run too wide on corner exit. He just about manages to keep the car on the track, and there's no, at a track like this, on paper it seems straightforward, doesn't it, Brendan, that there's just a straights and a few chicanes and a couple of corners, but you've got to be on your A game all the way through, don't you?
So hard, it's unbelievably difficult, because if you're sat in the slipstream, you're 5-10 kph faster than you arrive without the slipstream. How does that equate into braking earlier? Does that mean I brake 2 meters earlier, 5 meters earlier, 4 meters earlier? You don't know until you hit the brake and you hit that apex. Maybe you don't hit the apex. And that's the challenge, and that's the millions and millions of calculations a racing driver's brain is doing every second, trying to calculate the grip. Do I need some more brake pedal? Do I need a bit less? Do I need some more turn-in? And that's everything what's going on. And that's why it's so hard to race around Monza, is because you're arriving to these corners at the fastest speed you're going to do it all calendar long. And you've got to nail it. If you don't nail it, your opportunity to overtake is gone.
It is indeed. We're looking now at Alessandro Miraglia, currently running just inside the top 10. That is a beautiful livery on that Ferrari as well. Miraglia focusing, absolute concentration on his face. He knows that this is a good opportunity to come away from this race with some points. Maybe one, maybe two, if he can close that 0.8 of a second gap to Slovanak ahead. He will be trying everything he can. Meanwhile, Grassi a little bit further down the running order, still in the fight with the cars around him. Grassi doing everything he can to improve, currently from 15th position, but Maurice Stryker very much the man on the recovery. I said he was a little bit too far behind the rest of the field to make any of that gap back. I was totally wrong on that one, because Maurice Stryker now on the attack at the back of your shot in the red machine.
Yeah, 4 times faster on the previous lap as well. He's got nothing to lose, hasn't he? This is sort of the dilemma when you know that you're one of the quickest cars, or possibly one of the quickest cars on the grid. Maybe you've had a bit of an unfortunate race. It's a good opportunity to practice your racecraft, these ones, because Sometimes in racing, people give up a bit early and they cruise round for 25 minutes. But there's always something to be gained in a race, whether it's a position, whether it's some points, or maybe it's some personal experience, maybe even just fun. This is really where the top drivers always find an advantage to be gained.
Absolutely, and we've seen that many, many times before from our drivers that anything can happen, and it usually does in racing. Is not over until the checkered flag. This is one of our guest drivers in the Ferrari Esports series, a very popular YouTuber as well, doing a great job so far in this race to be running inside the top 20, 17th position. Dominic Ullmann just a little bit further up the road that we're looking at now is still on the attack. So Ullmann trying to find a way past. That is Stramidlo ahead. So Dominic Ullmann not quite in a position to overtake just yet, but he's giving everything he has got and more to try and close the chasing pack down. And Ullmann's been a man very much involved in drama during the entirety of this race, as once again we come round Alboreto. Now, Brendan, is the opportunity to get in the slipstream and see if he can gain a position as the car ahead runs wide.
I think this is a real opportunity for him. He's flashing the lights, everything he's got, every bit of aggression. You see pulling out the slipstream, but he's pulled out really early, so they're going to be side by side into the braking zone. He might just be a nose ahead, but it's going to be last on the late braces. Who's brave on the brakes? It definitely seems Ullmann's braver around the outside, squeezing him on the apex, bit of contact. I've got to say that was more Ullmann's fault there because he closed down the apex too early, but not really too much harm done. They both recovered super quickly, but you can see more drama for Ullmann.
And that's once again Grassi's finding the door opening wide in front of him, but now he's under pressure from the green machine behind as another car runs off onto the gravel. Ullmann goes to the inside. Has he got it on the brakes? Yes, he has. Grassi from taking the position to losing it again, but now for the switchback, Grassi gets a good run through the chicane. He puts his nose to the inside into the first Lesmo. Can he keep the position? Yes, he can. Both cars give each other racing room. Ullmann on the outside, Grassi on the inside, still on the inside into the second Lesmo. This is Ullmann's position. Is it? Yes, it is. That is some great driving from these two. Grassi just about still holding on to it, but Ullmann squeezes his way back through Stramidlo as well, trying to buy into the fight. Three cars heading down into the next section of corners. This is dangerous times for all three of these, and for four corners in succession. They've gone too wide, but eventually that is Grassi that retains the position. And Brendan, that is sensational.
Wow, Grassi, that was amazing! Side by side for every corner all the way and round the outside of Ascari. That's so hard to do. You can't even imagine to break that late and really send it around the outside. You can see he's probably got his father watching straight behind him, much like a karting kid, hasn't he? Got the family support right up behind him. Amazing to see.
I would find that as a driver so difficult and disconcerting to have somebody looking quite literally over my shoulder, but it's not holding Dominic Ullmann up any whatsoever. Stramidlo trying to buy into this one as well. That's a great move actually by Stramidlo. Hangs the car up the inside a little bit too long. Spins round Dominic Ullmann now. Unfortunately, the green machine facing the wrong direction. Left the nose in there just that little bit too long, and here it is again from a different angle. There he goes. Stramidlo thought he had an opportunity, then ran out of real estate, and sadly Dominic Ullmann paid the price for that one with contact between the two.
Yeah, all fighting very hard, wasn't it? So Ullmann was a bit of a victim in that one, but like I say earlier in the broadcast, when you live by the sword, you die by the sword, don't you? And they're certainly fighting tooth and nail.
Yeah, there was some very hard racing between the two of them. I'm sure, despite the disappointing end result, they will have enjoyed that little bit of a battle. Now Grassi has plenty of clean air in 13th position. Stramidlo that we're looking at now under pressure from Murray Striker. If only Striker would have had a clean opening lap or so, that would have been fascinating to see what he could have done, because he has been on the charge all race long. And credit to Murray Striker, I think, Brendan, that he's not given up. He fell almost to the back of the grid, but he's pushing, and he's not done yet. 14th, 15th position, fancying his chances for P14.
This is where I rate real champions, you know. He's doing, although he's not winning the race, Lecom is really putting in a champion's drive by winning and dominating the game by 1.5 seconds and controlling it seemingly. Maurice Striker has impressed me here because it's so easy to give up and just stop racing and think, okay, it's not my day. But no, he's got back on the train, he's got back on the bike, and he's really fought, and he's making it his day, and he's enjoying every moment of it. Round the outside of the braking zone, he's probably going to go for a switchback. See, force the car a bit deep on the brake, go for the switchback, bit caught up on the apex here, but right up behind, and he's going to look for a nice slipstream down to chicane. But I think it would be a good situation for him here.
That was intelligent driving by Stramidlo ahead as well. He saw what was happening, held the car on the apex, having to make Murray Striker check up, get off of the throttle and not get the overlap. But Striker now to the outside again, not quite in the right position. Some good car control, some good positioning from Stramidlo. Now starts to go defensive too into the right-hander, so Striker has to look to the outside. He'll try the switchback again on corner exit to give himself the inside for the next corner, but there's nothing doing there. And I've got to say, from Stramidlo ahead, there's some really intelligent positioning of the car there to give absolutely no opportunity for Murray Striker. And while they're squabbling, that's allowing Barco to get involved as well as we ride on board with our race leader, Arnaud Lecombe.
For sure, that was some really beautiful racing actually between them. Pure, clean racing. But you see, Lecombe, I mean, 2 minutes left on the clock, 1.3 seconds. It's not easy, is it? Like, the last race he dominated, and like we say, could have had a cup of tea, could have relaxed. But you can see a bit more concern in his eyes, can't you? Even through this high-speed corner, fighting the wheel just a little bit, showing that the car is on edge. But he's had to work for this one. He knows that this race has been a bit harder than the previous one. He knows that there's a championship challenge to come. But he's driven like a true expert today, like a true professional. You can see the car sliding through the apex perfectly, four-wheel drifting. They call it 11 tenths back in the day when the car is perfectly on the edge. You see the front brake disc glowing really nicely on the exit. These top three drivers have put a beautiful race together. Very reminiscent of the first race, in my opinion. Like, you see the top three about 1.5 seconds apart, not really fighting each other, but just tailing each other's lines.
Yeah, great driving from these three and the entirety of the field, to be fair. But Arnaud Lecombe, he may not be running away from things as he did last time out, but it's still a very composed performance. And you'd have to go a long way to look for a driver that's more of a favourite to win this championship than Arnaud Lecombe, because he has been just so good in every set of conditions. And we've seen him in different series over the course of the last few years as well. He's the real deal, is Arnaud Lecombe, isn't he? He's just incredibly fast and seemingly can just soak up pressure.
Yeah, I'm sure one day I'll go wheel to wheel with him on track, and I really look forward to that day because he's a pure talent, you know, and his driving style is amazing to watch. He's super on the edge all the time, but it's beautifully controlled, four-wheel drifting. I just can't say enough good things about this guy. I hope he makes good coffee.
Excellent stuff. So Arnaud Lecombe still leading the race. The clock hits 0 now. We're looking at Pagano in 4th position. Michael Tanitsa, brother, of course, of David Tanitsa, the Ferrari Driver Academy star and former F1 Esports world champion. So Michael Tanitsa, another very composed performance from the Italian driver in 5th position at this moment in time. Pagano, that we're looking at now in virtual reality as well, is Leonardo Pagano in 4th position. So another interesting aspect of a sim racer's life is the kind of hardware that you use in these competitions. And Pagano's not really had much opportunity to look at any of his rivals during the course of the race. It's been a pretty quiet affair, but Arnaud Lecombe, another driver that's not any opportunity to look at his rivals. A very solid performance up front, Brendan.
Yeah, like I say, beautifully controlled through the sky with the final time. Still pushing. Good stuff, lad. Go on. And it's absolutely wonderful to watch him drive and how he's controlling. See the car off in the background. They're all still pushing, aren't they? They all want the fastest lap of the race just for a nice bit of ego boost. But beautifully driven from the top three. And like you say, everyone on the grid as well.
Yep, fantastic stuff. So here we go now. This is our race leader through the final corner for the final time. Arnaud Lecombe, 2 races 2 race victories in the Ferrari Esports Series, takes the checkered flag in what has been a perfect performance from the French driver, just ahead of Leonardo D'Alcamo in second position. Maxime Battifoulier rounds out the podium places, and Arnaud Lecombe looks about as excited as someone going to do their weekly shopping at the local supermarket, but 25 points is still 25 points. What a great show.
I was going to say, I quite like my weekly shopping, so I'm quite happy to do that. But you're right, he knows that today's been a bit more of a battle than the previous one, and he knows there's a bit more work to do ahead of round 3, and it's going to be even more of a fight as the season goes on.
Yeah, really strong performance from all 3 of our podium finishers, and these are the podium finishers. Arnaud Lecombe from Leonardo D'Alcamo in second, Maxime Battifoulier P3, Leonardo Pagano, Michael Tunitsa, Davide Adami round out the 6, Jonathan Riley in 7th, Edge Altanel in 8th, 9th position, Jurika Slovanak and Alessandro Miragalia are the last of the points paying finishers. And Brendan, they've been 2 exceptionally entertaining races, and once again, as always, an absolute pleasure to share the comms box with you. And now it is time to award our prize for the day, which is this beautiful Ferrari soft shell jacket. As always, we have a prize winner each round, and on this occasion the winner is Alexander von Trashberg. So congratulations to Alexander on your fantastic win in the Ferrari Esports Series. And before we head back, Brendan, driver of the day for Group B.
Tom, it's got to be Lecombe, I think, because he controlled it beautifully and raced expertly. Thank you so much for having me. Next time out, we're in my home race of Silverstone. I look forward to it.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much, Brendan. And let's get ourselves back to the studio. Wow, and wow, what an incredible couple of races here at Monza. Fantastic performance and experience for the drivers, and hopefully an entertaining watch for everybody at home as well. And it has set the stall out incredibly well for the next race next month. We've got some drivers leaving here euphoric at their performance, and some disappointed with a point still to prove, which is not bad for an evening's work, I hear you say. And now I'm pretty much done for the day. So, all that's left for me to do is hand back over to our Nikki to tell you a little bit more about what's to come.
Well, absolutely brilliant stuff tonight. Massive thank you as well to Brendan and Paul for a very energetic hour of commentary. You must be exhausted. Take a break, guys. And of course, a huge thank you to all of our drivers too. A really incredible show that they've put on for us tonight at the track. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed all the drama back at home. And in the meantime, don't forget, you can keep up to date with all of the action, everything that's going on from the world of Ferrari Esports by giving us a follow. Get on social media. We're on all the usual channels, Ferrari Esports. So do give us a follow. Stay up to date with all the latest news. And I just have to say one last thing, and that is we will see you at Silverstone. Yes, it's my home race and Paul's home race as well. We look forward to going racing once again at Silverstone with Ferrari Esports. We'll see you then. Take care.